Hi everyone, it's me, Liz, today with a story time about my stalker. Okay, I'm kidding, I don't want to be over dramatic. I didn't really get stalked, it was more like the situation of a bad pickup artist trying to get with me. I kind of mentioned this story briefly in another video, I'm gonna link to it. Let's begin. So this happened to me about 6 years ago when I was walking home from school. I had about a 10-minute walk to the subway station, and I swear situations like this always happen to me when I have just a 10-minute walk somewhere. It's ridiculous. So part of my way, I would say maybe a fourth of my way, consisted of a semi-secluded road. Let me explain to you what that looked like. So imagine over here there's apartment buildings. Right next to it here there's the narrow little road that I'm walking on, and right over here there's a busy street. So to protect the apartment buildings from the noise and just the views, like the people that walk on the street, someone put bushes and trees in front of the street. So that also protects the little, not an alley, but yeah, the little road I'm walking on. So where I am, people from the street can't see me, and I don't really know who's living in the apartment buildings, like how many people, you know, if they're home, whatever. So it was kind of like, it's secluded. That's what I'm trying to say, semi-secluded. So every time that I was on my way home, when I was walking or when I was on the bus or wherever, I have music in my ears. And that's the universal sign for don't fucking talk to me. Just a little thing to keep in mind throughout the story. So halfway through this little alley, in the distance, a little on the side, I see a van parked with a company logo on it. The back doors were open. I could see that there were like pipes or wood or something was sticking out, and there was a guy kind of leaning or sitting in the back area of the truck. And I thought, okay, he's probably on his break, he's probably working in the apartment buildings doing maintenance or whatever. Now, I don't really like situations like this. Hear me out on that, okay? I feel that many guys in a situation specifically like this, on a secluded road, and they're alone there, and then they feel like if a pretty girl is walking by, a pretty girl, you know what I mean, that they deem attractive, that to them this is the perfect chance of hitting on her, because I kind of would have to give my attention to him, because I would have to hear him, because the noise is kind of muffled from the trees and stuff, and there's no people talking, and there's no noise, no nothing. So if he talks to me, there's 100% chance of me hearing him and giving him my attention, because he's the only thing there. Plus, if he fails, you know, if I just keep walking, nobody would see it, because there's nobody there to see it. So it's kind of safe for him, but it's the exact opposite thing for me, feeling-wise. In this situation, I say this situation so much. Have a shot every time I say situation. But in this situation, I felt that there was a huge chance of that guy trying to talk to me, because he was staring at me from afar. And I'm the kind of person that when I walk home, I don't want to talk to you, I don't want to buy anything, I don't want to sign anything, I don't want to listen, I just want to go home. The closer I got, the more intense the stares got, and that made me feel really uncomfortable. I kind of saw it coming. Like I was a very introverted person back then. I didn't like to be stared at all, which in the city that I lived in, people just did that, you know, like usually they wouldn't talk to you, but they would stare you into the ground for no reason. It's just the city, you know what I mean? So I kept my eyes straight, you know, tried not to look at him, but he was kind of in the way. So our looks, I just kept crossing. So I looked away. I looked at the trees, on the ground, at the buildings, and eventually I just pulled out my phone and I just tried to look as busy as possible. So when I was about 10 feet away, I tried to walk faster because I just wanted to get it over with, looking as unavailable as possible. And I felt his look burning on my entire body. When I passed him, I saw out of the corner of my eye that, imagine this is me. I felt him going like, as I was walking by, like I felt his look following me. And for a second, half second, I thought, oh my god, yes, I've made it, it's fine, it's okay, it worked, it's good, I can go home. But then he says, hey beautiful, how are you? In my mind, I thought, you know what, just keep walking, just ignore him, act like you didn't hear him, like just keep walking, like what is he gonna do? But for a second, I don't know what to call it. The bad habit that I had was being way too polite. So for a second, I thought, no, but that's not nice, like to just stop when he's trying to talk to you. So for a second, I hesitated, like, let's keep walking, and then I hesitated, and then I kind of like halfly turned around and looked at him, and I just wanted to keep walking, but he saw his chance. And he said, oh yeah, wait, just a minute, like just pretty please, how are you? And then I thought, okay, now it would be really impolite for me to, ignore him because he's like being nice and whatever. And I hated myself for that because I thought, I'm not interested in you. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time. I'm actually just on my way home. I don't want to be impolite. So I kind of got stuck in. I take a few steps towards him. I really wish that I wouldn't have been giving an F about what he was thinking about me. However, he starts talking like, oh, how are you? Where are you going? And I was like trying to get out of the situation. So I was like, I'm just going home. Like, I don't really have time. I need to walk my dogs and stuff, which wasn't a lie, by the way. So, see, I was kind of trying to turn away, and he was coming closer. He was like, oh, no, come closer. Like, just a minute. It's just a minute. So I thought like, okay, I can't get out of this situation nicely by trying to be like sorry and blah blah. So I felt defeated. So I thought, okay, hear him out. What does he want? Maybe he just wants to ask for directions. Like, but no, this makes no sense. Okay, so he said, oh no, just a minute, you're so beautiful and this and that. And I was like, thanks. Because back then, like, yeah, I was introverted and I wasn't really that confident, so I didn't even really take that serious when somebody said that to me, which sounds so bad. But things changed, okay? So then he asked me a question where even if I liked him, if he asked me this question, he would have been like out for me. This is like, I hate it when somebody asks me this question, which is that your real hair color? Back then I was blonde, so I was like, no, it's not. And in my head I was like, obviously not. Like, so he continued to ask me a bunch of questions, have like small talk with me, like, oh, what's your real hair color? How was your day? Where are you going? You have pretty eyes. Oh, you're so beautiful. You're so sweet. Blah, 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 blah. I sound like a bitch, like somebody's complimenting me and I'm like complaining. Now he just asked me a bunch of questions, like also, what kind of music do you like? What's this? What's that? I cannot repeat the word uncomfortable so much as to express how that made me feel, okay? He touched my arm. The whole time, during the whole conversation, he tried to like be like, yeah, I was like trying to pull away, like, Believe me, it was very obvious that I was just trying to get away. It wasn't like I was really showing any interest in him or having fun or anything. It was really obvious. He would have to be blind and deaf to not see that I just wanted to leave, that I obviously didn't want to talk to him in this situation, that I was just trying to be nice. You can feel that. So then, he asked me, do you have a boyfriend? I should have just said yes, goodbye. But then there comes this, I don't even know, it's just stupid, this stupidity, I don't even know what to call it. But I said, no. Also back then, I guess I seemed very closed off, like unapproachable. This is what people told me. And back then, when I was that young 6 years ago, not ugly or whatever, but I was just like, my attitude was just like very cut off. I didn't really have that much experiences with trying to get rid of guys that I don't want to talk to. I would have never said just fuck off, I don't want to talk to you. Just being a bitch, because sometimes you have to be, I feel like. Sometimes because some guys just don't get the hint, they won't let go. So you're gonna have to be like, no. But now I would totally do that. Like, I changed so much, but back then I wasn't like that. That is what brought me into a bad situation, and this is kind of the moral of the story. That this caught me pretty off guard, and also I was kind of afraid what would happen if I would just say no, or if I would just walk away or whatever. However, so moving on. This guy was not my type at all. He was much shorter than me. He looked like he was in his mid-30s. You could see a little gray hair, which back then was just, in my mind, was just way too old for me. His hair was shaved off to the point that it was like 1/10 of an inch, just like really, 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 really short. It wasn't just his looks that made him unattractive to me. It was just the way that he was, just the way that he was talking, the way that he acted, just his body language or whatever. I just wasn't attracted to him at all. He kind of talked like he didn't know what to say, but he was trying to hide that fact. Like being shy and trying to get out of your shell and trying to talk to people, that's one thing. But that wasn't the case here. This guy sounded like he was trying to remember a script in his head. And then, so much later, it hit me. This guy was obviously a pickup artist. He was learning from a pickup artist. It was so obvious looking back, you know? And in that moment, I didn't listen to him like that deeply, I just tried to get out of the situation. But still I realized that something about him was so off. He came over as super fake nice. When he stopped talking and I was talking, he kind of looked like he was studying me. You know, he looked at me not like he normally look at a person. I wouldn't be surprised if there would be a video somewhere online of that situation. I don't want to sound paranoid, but these guys sometimes film their encounters with women so that they can analyze afterwards. I can guarantee you that he tried to remember what he learned in that moment. I'm holding a pen, by the way. And he came over as super unnatural. For some reason, you know, he seemed to like everything I like. You know, he seemed to like the same artists. Like, I could have said anything. He would have just agreed. I'm sure he didn't even know who I was talking about. I like Avril Lavigne. I like Demi Lovato. And he was like, yeah, I like them too. Demi, oh yeah, I know Demi. Like, yeah, she's amazing. Back to the story. So he just asked me if I was single. I was like, yeah. And now he asks me, do you like me? Which 100% pickup artist, 100%, but a bad one. You don't ask that. Like, that's, I gave him away. It did. This question is so stupid to ask because it puts the woman on the spot. Like, well, what do you expect me to do? Like, you already know that I want to be polite because I stopped to talk to you. You can obviously see that I don't want to talk to you, and now you're trying to kind of like trick me into saying that I like you. I don't like you. You know, you can't make me like you by asking. What are you trying to do? I don't get what you're trying to do. You know that I won't say, yeah, I find you really unattractive. I would just like to leave. I should have said that, but in a nicer way. I don't know how you can say that nice. Like, you just can't win as a woman in this scenario if you're trying to be nice. I really didn't want to hurt his feelings. So I said, yes, I guess. This just makes the whole situation super awkward, and that's all that it will ever do. It just doesn't work that well. You cannot trick someone to get into a relationship with you. Like, so however, eventually I was like, okay, you know what, like, it was nice to talk to you, but I really need to go. We've been talking for a while. I need to walk my dogs. I have shit to do. I need to go home. I was nicer back then, clearly. So I took a few steps back and I turned kinda to be like, I really need to go, you know, because I was like at that point where I was like, okay, I don't care what he thinks now, I have to leave. I was nice, now I have to go. Okay, so he was like, okay, do you wanna exchange numbers? We can hang out as friends. He really said that. Why do you need to say we can hang out as friends? You can't just say, I've met you once, we're friends now. What if I don't want to be a friend? Plus, I know for a fact that then next week you will decide for us that we are ready for a relationship now. It seems like that you have some kind of invisible timeline in your head of like, okay, first you have to be friends, then you can get into a relationship, then you can do this and this and that. Like, these things come naturally. He didn't know how it worked. Sometimes when people are like, oh, I just want to get to know you, blah, 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 and you already know in a couple of days, they're like, oh, I really like you. I just want to go out with you. I just want to do this. I just want to do that. And then they're like, I just want to marry you and have 10 kids. You know, like sometimes when people try to come over as casual and they kind of try to trick you into it like a little bit, you know, but you saw it coming the second they said, I just want to get to know you. Especially here, I was like, you don't just want to hang out as friends. You stopped me while I was walking home and you called me beautiful and this and that. You asked if I was single and I'm not interested. I'm sorry. Like, I didn't know how to say that. I just wanted to be like, For a second I thought about giving him a fake number, and then I thought, oh, but what if he calls me right now and my phone doesn't ring? So I was like, okay, I'm gonna give you my real number. And lo and behold, he did call. And this thing with the number, by the way, is something that they learn from their teachers too. And you know, they don't get the hint. It's not even a hint anymore, okay? It's jumping on you. It's so heavy that it's like pushes the life out of you so big and so heavy. If she gives you a fake number, she doesn't want to talk to you. You can't fix the situation by calling them to make sure that the number is not fake. Like, I'm sorry. If somebody doesn't like you, they don't like you and you have to move on. So he told me his name was Brian. I thought about this name before, by the way. I think that the guy even made a picture of us. And he said that this is just for his contacts. So I know who you are. Because I obviously talk to so many girls on the street and get so many numbers that I forget who they are. You know, which makes you come over as really attractive. He totally did not take that picture to show it to his pickup friends or teacher or whatever. No, he took it for his contacts. 100% sure. So he finally let me go after he gave me the most awkward hug of my life. But then we said goodbye and I just did what I should have done in the first place and just walked away. I almost ran away. So I was like, okay, fine, good, it's over. I didn't hurt his feelings. Now I hope that this whole thing will just die down. So now the aftermath. By the way, the light is changing so much because it's getting dark outside. So now I'm in the subway and immediately, as I sit down, my phone vibrates. And I'm getting this instant, horrible feeling that this is him. And it was. And he wrote, "Hi sweetie, when can I see you again?" And before I can even have a thought about, did he just call me sweetie? Like, that's kind of fast. Like, damn, you're moving fast. Another message pops up saying this weekend, which is also something that they learn, you know, like you don't just ask someone, oh, you want to see me again? You give them a date also. Like, so I texted him one of the 2 texts that I ever sent him. And that's like, you know, I'm kind of busy this week. Like, I don't know, I don't think so. Sorry. I tried to look unavailable. I tried to look like make him lose interest. So that was it with the messages until I got home. He texted me, "Do you live alone?" Coming from this guy of this situation, and just I already felt that he was kind of pushy. I don't know, I just had a bad feeling. So I sent him the second text and I said, "No, I live with family." Short, you know, like I don't want to have a conversation. Uninvitative, you get the point. So I thought that would make him lose interest. And I was wrong, because the same evening, he texts me again. He says, and I kid you not, "Hi babe, are you awake?" Mind you, he met me 4 hours before. In these 4 hours, he sent me 4 text messages. He called me sweetie, babe, and other things. Like, I don't even remember every message. He called me like something you call somebody in a relationship, and it started immediately. So that's when I just stopped answering, because I thought like, okay, this is getting too much. This guy, he wouldn't even get it if I would tell him I'm not interested. He wouldn't even accept me not wanting to be with him. He would always find a way around it. Like, oh, you have a boyfriend, well, you can cheat. Oh, you're married, well, you can cheat. Oh, you're a lesbian, well, you just didn't have a real man in your life, you know, with shit that these guys say. Like, they will always find something ridiculous to kind of try and work their way around it. Like, oh, I don't like you. Oh, well, you just have to get to know me. How can you tell me you don't like me when you don't even get to know me? You probably know what I'm talking about. So over the next 2 months, at least, he proceeded to text me about 50 times. I didn't answer one more message. Okay, it's not like I kept answering him and then we kept talking or whatever. He just kept sending me messages. I try to remember if I think he tried to call me too a couple of times and I never picked up. I mean, like, I'm sorry, but even if we had a great conversation, which we did not have, at least if I put myself in your shoes, if I meet a like nice girl and we have a conversation and she doesn't answer, like when I text her like twice and she doesn't answer, I would think, okay, hey, maybe she changed her mind, you know, or maybe she got to know somebody, or for some reason, you know, she's just not interested in me anymore, and I stopped texting. This is not the only time that a guy texted me again and again and again without getting an answer, without me even acknowledging anything. Like, some guys are like that. I don't get it. Could somebody please explain to me? Like, I would really like to know. So he texted me things like, "Hey sweetie, how are you? Do you want to meet?" Very, very shortly after. I think he texted that a couple of days later, like, "Do you like me?" Or do you like the way I look or something? Like, "Are you free today? Oh, you look so sexy. Should I come pick you up?" And then finally, after like, I don't know how much time passed, but he was like, "Oh, don't you want to talk to me anymore? Hello?" And then he stopped texting me for a week and I was like, yay, he understood. he got it. Until, yeah, like a week later, he texted me, and I kid you not, at 3 a.m. And he wrote, "Hey sexy, are you up? Should I come to your place?" I never gave him any hope that that could ever happen. And yeah, honestly, I wanted to text him so many times, just like, no, I'm not interested, no this, no that, but I know that no excuse would work, first of all. And then maybe that's stupid, but I thought, like, how would he react to that? Would he cuss me out? Like, he seemed so fake that if I would say no, he would flip his shit. So after his 200th message, he finally wrote, "I will delete your number." Just that. And then I never heard from him again. And looking back, I should have just blocked his number. I don't know why that never occurred to me. But even if I did, some guys just get new numbers. Like, if they really want to pursue you in their mind, if you block their number, you just get a new phone with a new number, so she doesn't know what your number is. So she will think like, oh, who's this number? And then she will answer, and then she's gonna have to talk to you. Also, I thought it was kind of rude, but honestly, I couldn't have been getting out of this situation without being rude. Because I could have either just rejected him on the spot, which would have been best for everyone, but that would have been coming over as rude. Then what I did was giving him a number and just ignoring him, hoping that it would die down. That comes over as leading on, and I was rude not to answer. Or I could have been giving him a number and block him, and then that would have been coming over as rude too. You get what I mean? I think the best thing for everyone is just to be like on the spot. Sorry, I'm not interested. Sorry, I have a boyfriend. Sorry, whatever. I kind of learned from the situation, and this is what I want to give out to you guys with the story, is that you really shouldn't care if somebody thinks that you're an asshole or a bitch or whatever, which you're not when you reject someone. Just to put it out there, you're not. Just because you're not interested in somebody doesn't mean that you're a horrible person or whatever. You're just not interested. It's life. It's a possibility when you ask someone to get rejected. And don't think that these guys never get rejected, because they get rejected a lot. You know, when you try to talk to somebody on the street on their way home. And I know that some guys react like assholes. They will cuss you out. They will get aggressive. Some guys even get violent. And when you have a feeling that that might happen, just get yourself out of the situation, or reject him in public where people can see you. You know, if you don't feel safe, just go to a public space. I hope that you could maybe relate to this story, or that it at least was entertaining to you, that you could maybe take something out of it. I hope that you guys liked this long video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Stalk me everywhere on social media. I hope that you're having a good day, which is when I started filming this video, or a good night, which is now, and I see you next time. Okay, bye.